And we are, and we're back again for, I guess, another episode. I don't know. I think there was a time when we were questioning what this would actually be, and when we settled on it would be a podcast. Then I had to learn or get used to calling it that, and get used to calling these experience in these moments episodes. So we are back with episode, I think this is 29, which we should be proud of that. I think that's an accomplishment. Um, Still trying to remain consistent, and I have every intentions to do that. But I have some. Obviously, the topic is always going to be around creativity, but I have an interesting one today, and I'm looking forward to it. But as always, we're going to start off how we always start off with an exercise in mindfulness, and how we do that is focusing on our breath for 10 seconds, 10 breaths, and then we can get going. So we're going to start that now. And now that we're present in this moment, I always like to do a brain teaser just to get our minds going. The one I have for you today is ask this question all day long, but always get completely different answers. And yet all the answers will be correct. What is the question? Ask this question all day long, but always get completely different answers. And yet all the answers will be correct. What is the question? Today is interesting because this is NOM, the Creative Conduit, it's podcast, right? And for those who don't know, this is not even a branch, but a part of a bigger entity, which is NOM, which is my innovation as a service shop, and a huge part of what we do, or a huge part of our offering, are workshops that are geared towards connecting individuals back to their creativity. I've always said that creativity is innate to human beings, and we spend our adult life kind of being separated from it, and not even separated because there's no real detachment, but suppressing it. And you have to be intentional in reconnecting back with your creativity. And I spent all this time studying human creativity, and to the point where I felt like I gathered enough research and evidence and know-how to be able to connect anyone back to their creativity. And that manifested in the form of workshops. And the first workshop, if I remember the name properly, is Unlocking Creativity, Priming for the Onset of Design. But these workshops themselves are like, I generally gear them towards individuals, usually in the corporate setting, but individuals who don't feel like they are creative or don't perform in a task that requires a creative output in their head. And but the workshops themselves are like, they are intimate. It's an exploration of the five senses in isolation and then together. But I always start off, I do that same exercise, which is mindfulness, being present in the moment and all that. But the first question or exercise that I always do is ask, when's the last time you've been creative? And as easy of a question that is, it always takes the cohort some time. You can see it in their minds that they're thinking through, hey, how can I answer this? When was actually the last time? And they think, usually they think back to something artsy, like when they were kids, or if they have kids, kind of helping their kids out. And rarely is the response ever this morning or earlier today when I got ready to come to this event or to start my day? And it's odd to me that that is not the initial response, knowing that how you put yourself together, your personal style, is a form of creativity. And I've always acknowledged that. I've always been conscious of that. And because of that, I've always had a love-hate relationship with, and I use the word hate loosely here, with stylists. Not because of what they do. I think any form of creativity or any creative outlet is amazing, and anybody who is kind of living in active pursuit of their creativity and can showcase that, it's a beautiful thing. I guess my for lack of reservations with it is the fact that I feel like unless when you're styling somebody, you take the approach as the similar approach to somebody who's a writer who writes music, where sits with the client and allows them to tell a story, allows them to share personal things about themselves, and based off that, is able to craft a song or lyrics that not only resonate with the person you're writing for, but actually that person feels like they wrote it themselves. And I think that's the true beauty of creativity and art and design and innovation is, can you produce something that the person you're producing for feels as if though you co-produced it with them? And usually, writers are really good at that. For a lot of, so some of your famous artists, musical artists, the type of records that would match them, and their sound, and a lot of them have ghostwriters, and the ghostwriters have mastered their personality and the artist's personality and their story enough that they can create music and melodies that coincide with the artists themselves. But it was merely anecdotal evidence. So I'm taking that back to the idea of personal style, right? And then the stylist, if a stylist does the exact same thing for their clients, where kind of learns them on an intimate level and understands them emotionally and more than the output that they want to give off, understand who they are, and then allow them or create a way for them to kind of showcase their own personality. And if the personal stylist does that, then I stand firmly in support of that, the personal stylist. But there are other stylists who just takes their styles and they put it on people, and there's a disconnect that happens, right? It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel real. No knock at the stylist. It is authentic for them, but sometimes I could tell when somebody's being styled and not necessarily it's not a representation of who they are as a person. It just feels like mismatch. It's like, that's not you. It doesn't feel like you. It feels like this look was given to you as opposed to it was organically your look. Now, with that said, going back to the workshop. So I always ask the question afterwards, like, why don't you feel like when you put yourself together today, you weren't being creative? And to me, that is one of the purest forms of creativity. It's like, because the beauty about your personal style, especially on any given day, it tells a story of your mood, how you feel. the type of energy you want to give off, and also the type of energy you're looking to receive throughout the day, right? If you want to share a certain feeling throughout the day, it'll naturally it's gonna come through in what you wear. I know for me, it's like I never really know what I'm going to wear until it's time for me to wear it. And there's this thing that happens right before, like after I get out the shower, and I'm like, all right, what am I gonna wear? Then I think of where am I going, who am I seeing, and then I also think of, all right, what version of me is showing up today, and I want to make sure that version of me, what I wear and my style that day matches my intentions for the day, and my intentions for this particular event or activity that I'm going to be participating in whatever capacity. And then usually I'm able to put pieces together in my head. And then by the time I get to my closet, I know exactly what I'm going to wear. Now, that doesn't mean when I put it on, it's going to match the aesthetic that I had in my head. So there's still some things that happen, and some audibles and some changes that happen between then and the point when I actually leave my house. But there's this process that happens where I understand, like, I want my style today to match, or every day, but today in particular to match the mood and the aesthetic that I want to give off. Unfortunately, a lot of those times it includes uh, some pieces of black, or some black pieces. There's always the color black attached to me, regardless, for the obvious reasons. But I'm saying in my apparel and the things I wear, whether I add some accessories, there's always evidence or existence of the color black. And I didn't realize, as much as I say this on here and I talk about the color black, I wasn't conscious that the rest of the world also sees it. So when people see me, like when they talk about me, there's, hey, you wear a lot of black. As much as I'm conscious of it, and it's intentional, it's unconscious as well. That doesn't mean I don't do color. I in my closet, there's a lot of color. I'm just strategic in the way I wear it. And usually I wear something like bright to contrast the black. And it'll be like a random something, but it happens. And then there's times where I just go full on color. And I when I wear it, I still feel like myself because how I put it together. But I guess I am synonymous with the color black. Now, that's interesting because if you ask the rest of the world, most people would acknowledge that I'm fashionable. I think it's one of the themes or characteristics associated with me when people talk about Swale. It's like, oh yeah, Swale knows how to dress, and it's always been like that. From their vantage point, from my perspective, though, I've always just been like quirky in my head. Like I've always had my own sense of style, and I never saw it as fashionable until I grew up and I realized, oh, I guess this can be considered that. And I've never been I've never been edgy in that regard. It's just been this just cool look. Like he just always just looks cool, and that's always been my stilo. Because what's interesting is it's my similar approach to life in general. Is like I try not to live in extremes. Same thing with fashion or my personal style. It's not an extreme thing. No knock to extremists in that regard. I think it's a personal expression and a creative expression, and how I express myself is not necessarily an extreme. It's just finding this balance that it's like it's good enough to sit amongst the extremes, and then when I'm with the subtle, it's it can also fit there, but it's enough to stand out, to be noticeable. And I remember one time somebody, it happens a few times, people tell me like, oh, I stand out in a room. It could be because of my height. It could be for whatever, my stature, for multiple reasons. And I think a part of it is the way I dress. And again, I'm saying this not to say, like, don't expect if we were to ever meet in person that I'm just this eclectic guy that dresses. No, it's not even that. It's extremely subtle. But it's my own sense of style. I've been associated with different people. Like a really good friend of mine is always said, "Man, you dress like this person. Or you dress like that person." And the people that they're mentioning are like individuals who are like celebrities per se, and they've been known for their fashion sense, right? And then every now and then, like I'll see that person in how they style themselves a particular day, and I'll say to myself, I'll smile and I'll say, I can see myself wearing that. But I'm saying that to say this. I think for a lot of us, we don't understand the impact, or we don't appreciate or recognize our creativity in the way we put ourselves together, in our personal styles, in how we dress, right? And however subtle or however extreme it is, I think it's a reflection on a bunch of things. It could be your mood. It could be creative expression. There could be cultural references, right? It could be maybe in support of your beliefs, right? And things that you advocate for, like sustainability, and you want to be resourceful. I know a friend of mine, she is what's considered a maximalist in her entire being. Like everything about her just screams extra. And because of that, there's layers, there's colors, there's patterns, and it can seem extremely resource extensive or intensive. Sorry about that. It can seem extremely resource extensive, but she's also the person that thrifts a lot. And so in one aspect is this extreme overusage, and then on another aspect it is it's sustainable, right? It's the reuse of clothes, and she just kind of adds to because I would imagine she gifts as well as she receives, but she's known for that, and that is her sense of style. And I cannot see her in all black. I cannot see her in anything plain. I think I'd be shocked. And her personality is as brash and hard hitting as the way she dressed. So there is a match. Like when I see her, it feels authentic because I know her on a personal level, to some extent, but it's almost like how she dresses matches her character. And that is just who she is. And she's energy. She's bright. She's all these things. So, and it matches. So when I see her, it's like, again, it seems authentic. Energy level, her personality, how she carries herself, and the way she dresses. We were at I was just so. I've become more conscious of my sense of style, especially now that I'm an adjunct professor at Parsons for the last few years, and I've seen these students. I've seen a showcase of personal style. It's almost like when you go on campus, it's almost like a fashion show, but depends on where you're looking at. It could be high fashion. It could be sustainable fashion. It could be minimalist. It could be maximalist. There's this thing that happened where it's like it's a melting pot of personal style and creativity. And if you enjoy people watching and you appreciate creativity from a distance and even up close, walking the campus kind of gives you that, right? It is so satisfying because you see it. And I think outside, you get the sense of confidence, and everybody is just owning their personal style. But what's interesting is inside the classroom, there is a sense of uncertainty, a lack of confidence. And in those moments, you hear the students not trusting their creativity and their personal style. And I was, so it's the start of the semester, so a bunch of faculty kind of get-togethers happening to kind of get the semester started. And I can't remember her name. I met this really cool professor, and she stood out in the room the way she was dressed. And another friend that was with me kind of recognized her. I guess they go to the same yoga studio together. And she was like, I know her. We go to the same. But she was scared to approach it. For me, it's like I've never had a problem interacting with other human beings. Like conversation is easy for me, and I could share space with anybody. So as she was walking out, leaving, I kind of interrupted, I got in her, and I was like, hey. So, and she joined the conversation. And one thing that so we spoke about fashion, our individual fashion sense and our fashion style and all these things. And then I had asked her what class she teaches, and I can't remember the name of the class, but the class itself is geared around, or the expectations of the class is each week you have to come dressed in something you created or you designed the previous week. And one thing she admitted was it was in the start of the semester, it's the most uncomfortable experience for the students, because here is an opportunity for you to go head first or head on into your own sense of style and your sense of creativity. And then you're forced to showcase it to the world. And a lot of people have never done that before. I think for a lot of us, we hide behind trends, we hide behind stylists, we hide behind somebody else's look. And to be forced to have to create and embrace your own sense of style, and to be able to have to do that consistently over the course of a period of time, I think it can be it's an exercise in self-awareness. It's an exercise in self-appreciation, and it's an exercise in authenticity. And I think that is something that we as creatives, we have to learn to embrace who we are and what we are. And one of the best ways to showcase that is our sense of style. And how we appreciate fashion. So the next time somebody asks you, when is the last time you've been creative? Say, the moment I woke up and I got ready to face the world. Because your creativity showcases itself in your personal style, in your sense of style. It is a form of creative expression. Through what you wear and how you wear it, you tell the world who you are, what you represent, how you feel. You're taking your energy because you are connecting with the people around you, but you're also giving off energy. And I want you to understand it. And I'm not saying that to add pressure on you the next time you get dressed. I'm saying the next time you get dressed, wear exactly how you feel, because you don't know how that is going to impact the rest of the world. And in it, you're also impacting yourself, because you're allowing yourself to be you, and you're allowing the world to appreciate you for exactly who you are. With that, I do not want to extend this longer than it should be. I will end the way we started, and it'll be the answer to the riddle. So the brain teaser was, ask this question all day long, but always get completely different answers. And yet all the answers will be correct. What is the question? The question is, what time is it? As always, this was a pleasure. I'll leave you how I always leave you. Go be great.